Good evening, everybody. Monday Morning Quarterback, episode 48. We are back from Florida, and it's snowing, so we had a nice cold welcome back to Indiana. But we're certainly glad to be back. Couple weeks down there racing, and it's always good to get a jump start on the season. We put a lot of preparation during our off season, which really isn't an off season anymore, as we're working on new products and developing new things. So it's good to see that stuff hit the track, see where we're at, and see where we need to improve before the season really gets going here in a month or so. So it's always good to be able to do that as a manufacturer, make sure that we're putting our best foot forward and giving our customers the best chance to succeed. So we had a bunch of things we were trying out down there, and some things worked and some things didn't, and now we're back with a book of notes and trying to get everything in order so we can continue to develop those things and give you guys everything you need to win in 2019. So hoping I don't catch a cold. It was 80 degrees, I think, the last day we were in Ocala, and it's 30 or so today here. So got some racing coming up here as well. Indoor midget race at DeCoin next week, and then the week after we are packing up the support trailer again. Going to hit the 3-day Now 600 race at Port City, on our way to Texas for round 2 of the National Quarter Midget Series. So keep your eye on the trackside support section of our website for an updated schedule. I'll have all that updated this week. We're planning on hitting a bunch of events and a bunch of new stuff. Myself and Jake both are going to be dragging that trailer all across the country this year to see you guys and meet you, and see how we can help you while you're at the racetrack. So Eric Long, you're tuned in. First person. We just got your shocks done today, Eric. She'll be hearing from me tomorrow. So while we're waiting for a few more people to tune in, we do have some new apparel available. Got the new CSI Vibes hoodie. Nice soft, kind of medium weight hoodie. And that's in a t-shirt. That prints in a t-shirt as well. And then we have 4 new hats, some truckers and a flat bill. So get over to csishocks.com and grab some of that stuff while we have it. And if you're wearing CSI, be sure to tag us on Facebook and Instagram so we can see you guys out there. So we certainly appreciate all the support. It was great seeing a bunch of customers and people wearing our apparel at the track in Florida. So we'll jump in here to tonight's topic, which is Racecar Maintenance. So I've been spending a bunch of time here the last week or two gathering all my notes and everything for the upcoming quarter midget chassis and setup seminar, and that's coming up in 2 weeks, and we have 2 spots left. So if you want to join us there, be sure to sign up. But as I've been gathering all my notes and putting the book together that all the attendees will get, I kept coming back to the maintenance part of it. So we're going to kind of go through the whole gamut of what you need to do to have a successful quarter midget program, and all of that is going to translate whether you race micro sprints, midgets, sprint cars, whatever level. So a lot of us here at the shop have worked at different levels of motorsports, from IndyCar to World of Outlaws, National USAC teams, and so we've worked for different teams and seen how things are organized, and it's just very, very important that you're organized and your race program is tidy when you head to the racetrack. So without a doubt, races are won in the shop. There's no shortcuts in this sport, and the teams that are the most successful are the ones putting the effort in. It's not always the guys spending the most money, but it's the guys that are putting the most effort in and doing the best with what they have. So I'm going to share with you here kind of my maintenance checklist, and this is for quarter midgets. So I had a similar checklist when I crew chiefed a sprint car. The items on it were a little different, but for quarter midgets, this is what I use every week. When we had house cars at CSI, and when we took care of the Anderchuk's family's cars, this is what I went over every single week to make sure that I didn't miss anything, that every nut and bolt was checked, that we inspected everything and we wouldn't have failures when we get to the racetrack. So this was great for us, especially as I would get help in the shop. Each person could kind of check off or initial what they did, so we knew what was done. We weren't doing the same thing over and over again. And I think this is very helpful and handy, just to have a checklist. We just would tape it to the roll cage and go through all these things. And again, it was just no bolt was untouched on the race car. We went through everything and made sure everything was where it needed to be. Kevin and I have actually even talked about adding a maintenance part of the Pit Logic app, and we would do that so you could actually have your checklist right there on the Pit Logic app, and we could maybe have different ones you could download for quarter midgets, micros, midget, sprint cars. So you can look for that potentially in a future release of Pit Logic. Kevin's had a lot on his plate getting the iOS version done, which has been submitted to Apple. Next week on the show we'll release the date that's going to be live on the iOS Apple Store for you Apple users to get the Pit Logic app. So we'll give you that date next week, but it has been submitted and they're going through all their approval process with it. So really slick. I think it's actually maybe even going to be a little nicer than the Android version. Kevin's really happy with it, and we're super excited to get that to you guys before the majority of you get racing here. So any questions, comments about the maintenance side of race cars, I'd be more than happy to answer anything. Personally, I've worked on and crew chiefed everything from quarter midgets to Indy cars, so be more than happy to share the things that I do week to week on the race car to make sure that we're ready when we head to the racetrack. Kevin, we're excited for you to get our shocks as well. So Eric needs a gray hat. I'm just scrolling through these. Kevin, at this point we don't have any intentions to video and have that video available of the quarter midget seminar. Unfortunately, number one, we don't have the equipment to do it, or the, I guess, expertise in producing a video that's high enough quality to do. So if the demand's high enough, I'll do another one, maybe next spring. But I wanted to keep the class small so everybody got one-on-one information and nobody got left out, and everybody really got something out of it. So while we're waiting for a few of you guys to answer questions, I think it's important to note too, aside from having your race car tidy and everything nice and neat and how you want it, I think it's equally as important to have your trailer organized and in the same fashion. So in the rare instance where something goes wrong at the racetrack, it's going to be a benefit to you to know exactly where your spare part is or that specific tool is to address it, because oftentimes those things happen at the most unopportune time, and you're on a time crunch and you get to thrashing, and it's going to benefit you if you know where everything's at and you're organized, and you can make any necessary repairs. So I feel like there's a few things that guys can do to really elevate their race program without spending a great deal of money, or any money for that matter. It's just a matter of being prepared. So how often are you setting up the rear alignment on a sprint car? Great question, Neil. Typically for me, as I would maintenance the car, get the shocks off it, getting the stops and bars out of it, and service and all that, I would put everything back up on squaring blocks and just double check the square, front and rear. You can make it through a night and think, well, I didn't bump nothing, everything's fine, but it only takes a few minutes. If the square looked good, I really wouldn't go any farther. If the thing was at a square, then I would go through the whole process of re-squaring the rear end. But before I put it on the setup blocks, I'd always have it on ride height blocks and just double check that we're square, rear axle to the motor plate and front axle to the motor plate. That was a great question. Anybody else have maintenance questions regarding quarter midgets, micros, midgets, sprint cars? Be more than happy to answer those. And for those of you who are joining us for the quarter midget maintenance chassis setup tuning seminar, really happy with how the curriculums came together and all the stuff we're going to cover. I think we originally said it was going to be a 4 or 5 hour day. I'm starting to second guess that. I think it might be a little bit longer, but we're getting started first thing in the morning, and we'll stay as long as we need to make sure everybody gets the most out of it. But there is a lot of stuff to cover. We're going to go over everything from maintenance, squaring the front axle, squaring the rear axle, complete setup of the car, tuning stuff, as well as how I would take care of my tire program and what that looks like, because that's just such an integral part of any type of pavement racing, is having your tire program in line. So, you know, I almost spend as much time on the tire part of it, making sure that the tires are in the condition they need to be in, that everything is measured and staggered how we need them. Gosh, I almost spend as much time on tires with a quarter midget as you do the rest of it. So, and it was the same way when USAC was running pavement. We'd spend a great deal of time matching date codes on tires and sizing and matching sets and making sure everything was ready there. So, and we'll cover dirt stuff as well. So, Moose, the Canuter valve, you could probably share with the audience how to set that up better than I could. Moose has got many more years of experience working on race cars than I do. If it's loose, call the Moose. Former crew chief of myself back in my heyday. Thanks for tuning in, Moose. Anybody else have any questions this evening before we sign off? Again, we'll answer any question you got, and tonight we're kind of focusing on the maintenance side of things. If you had questions on any of that, so again, if you're a quarter midget guy in the Midwest, especially if you're a beginner, March 2nd, not this Saturday but the following, we have 2 spots left for that seminar, and I guarantee you'll get your money's worth there. Dave, thanks for tuning in. Dave could shed some light on maintenance on IndyCar stuff. That's what Dave does every day. Besides making awesome seat inserts and knee guards and quarter midget headrests, Dave's a crew chief at Andretti Autosport on Ryan Hunter Race Car. All right. Well, if nobody else has any other questions, we certainly appreciate you tuning in. Episode 48. It's crazy. When we started this over a year ago, I didn't think it would grow the way it did. We certainly appreciate you guys tuning in. If you're getting value from this show, do us a favor and share it so all your friends can see it. And we'll be back again next Monday night with some more goodies. Hope you guys all have a fantastic week, and thanks for supporting CSI. Take care.